Hello, everybody, and welcome to another new player guide for Scarlet Keys. Today we're going to be talking about Darrell Simmons, the long-awaited, fabled Survivor 05 Seeker 02 investigator. And what an investigator he is. When I was making this today, these slides, I was just like, holy crap, Darrell Simmons is going to be very strong. He is a very good investigator. Yeah. This is a new player guide, which means that Travis built this deck with just the revised core set and the Scarlet Keys player card expansion. So if you have more than that, we're not going to be talking about those cards. These are just those. And this was built without the taboo list in mind. If you don't know what the taboo list is as a new player, don't worry about it. Just play the game normally for a while, and then eventually you can see a video on our channel. It's called What the Taboo List Is. Or just Google what the taboo list is. You know, I'm not your dad. Is there anything else I need to say about what these videos are? I think I nailed it all.
No, I think you got it.
All right, so let's talk about Darrell Simmons. He has 2 brain, 5 book, 2 fist, and 3 foot. And you begin the game with Darrell's Kodak in play. So we're going to just take a little second to go look at Darrell's Kodak. So Darrell's Kodak, Proof in the Pudding. It's a 2-cost item tool. It's his deck only, and after an enemy or treachery enters play, exhaust Darrell's Kodak and place 1 resource from the token pool on that enemy or treachery as evidence. An example of a treachery that enters play that's in the core set is Obscuring Fog, just a nice, easy example of a treachery that can enter play. After you discover any number of clues, move that many evidence on enemies or treacheries at that location to Darrell's Kodak. So, also that works, for example, with Obscuring Fog. You know, you can put the clues on that, get the clues, and then be like, thank you, Obscuring Fog.
Why did you take a picture of this, Darrell? It's literally just fog. Can't see anything.
It's a natural. Can you tell?
Strange things in the fog. His Lightning Bolt ability is during a skill test at your location, you can spend 1 evidence from an asset you control to reduce the difficulty of this test by 2. Limit once per test. So, 2 things that are very important here. Reducing a test by 2 might seem like similar to an Unexpected Courage, and it is, but it's also better. Because if you reduce a test to 0, the only way to fail is if you draw the auto-fail token.
Or it's really cold.
Or it's really cold. And you also can use this on other players' tests. It's just a skill test at your location, which is really nice. His Elder Sign effect is place 1 evidence on an asset you control, which I think is just like kind of just nice gravy. It's not like incredibly powerful, but it's just like nice. He has deck size 30, Survivor 05, Seeker 02, Neutral 05, and he has a Rune Film for his signature weakness, which is Revelation. Remove 4 evidence from cards you control. For each evidence you cannot remove in this way, take 1 horror. I think once a Darrell deck gets up and running, this is going to be pretty soft, and you're also in Survivor, so even if you don't have evidence to discard and you take some horror, you're going to be A-okay.
You also have like 8.
Yeah, you also have like 8 in addition to all that.
Yeah, I just love the idea of drawing this card and you bumble your film into the street and it lands in a puddle and you're like, great, how could this get any worse? And then a truck runs by and splashes you with it.
Yeah, that's the extra horror.
Yeah. Well, this is why Darrell shouldn't be taking pictures of the fog, because it's probably raining too, yeah. All right, so Travis, what were you thinking with this Darrell deck?
Well, initially I thought that they wanted this investigator to be very strong because he has 5 book. And also, like, effective 7 book.
Yeah.
Which is, like...
Plus, he can use a camera without using his hands. Like,
Yes.
What the hell is that?
That's a choice. Yeah, that's pretty impressive, actually. Yeah, getting away from, like, design comments on the investigator, we have just a pile of good yellow cards and then some pile of good red cards. Imperial Hypothesis is a solid card to upgrade and it's going to keep your hand full. The Grim Memoir is a nice way to also keep your hand full and get use out of some of those investigate actions, push you up to like 7 for investigates, which is a lot. It's a lot. Magnifying Glass just gives you a stack boost. Dr. Milan gives you a stack boost, also a resource to play your cards. Research Notes is here because there's actually a lot of yellow cards in this set at the upgrading point that let you put clues onto your location for value, which also synergizes with Darrell's ability as a way to get extra evidence. So the research notes you could end up cutting if you decide you don't want to play those cards, but there are a fair number of them in the Seeker cards for the set. Look What I Found just gets you clues in case you fail somehow. Captivating Discovery, I don't remember what it does.
Puts clues down. You can draw cards, number clues you put down. Times
Okay,
2.
thank you.
Yeah.
End of the Road, I think, is a very, very strong red card. It just gives you so much for so little at level 0. Lucky, failing tests sucks, so don't. And Shadowlight is one of the cards that is like obviously intended to be played with Darrell. It gets you extra clues. It's a way to stack up evidence. And Deduction, Guts, Perception, I'm not really going to talk about here.
Yeah, we'll get to those once we get into that.
Oh yeah, we have Tool Belt, because I was looking at these and a lot of the things are tools, it turns out.
I mean, yeah, that is kind of sick because your flashlight and your your flashlight and your magnifying glass, you can just like switch between the one that's beneficial. Like if you want to just pass a 2-shroud location, you can be like, this happens.
It's also really nice if you choose to like upgrade your flashlight and stuff.
Yes, and then also because then it allows you in your offhand, you can keep Grim Memoir and just use it to refill your hand.
Yeah.
Attach the Kodak to the tool belt. Treat its text boxes till we're blank. Yeah.
Let's go.
Cool, yep.
Yeah, and I think like because Darrell Simmons has 5 book and he's a survivor, you could pretty much put anything together and he'll do very good in the game.
Yeah, it's actually kind of insane to me that his Kodak doesn't take up hand slots.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I understand why they didn't. Like, it should, from a balance standpoint, probably take up 2 hand slots.
Yeah.
But, like, I understand why they didn't, because then you can't play hand slot cards. Or it forces you to play the tool belt, which, like, I think would be a neat design choice in terms of building the deck instead of just stuffing it full of clue cards. But, you know.
Yeah. Although, I don't believe we have a single piece of art of Darrell Simmons where his hands aren't full of a camera.
Yeah.
So, why would that not be a like a fair and balanced thing?
Yeah, I bet Darrell's, like, back muscles are just yoked from packing that thing around all the time.
I mean, my buddy...
Especially with no hands.
Yeah. Yeah. He's just hanging on his neck.
Yeah.
All right. Let's... Is she vacuuming?
No, that's Russell cutting the hole through the
Door's slightly open. Russell's like, let me in.
All right. I'll remember time codes for this one. Okay, let's go start looking about the cards that are in the deck. So, we got Flashlight. This is just... Yeah, I'm gonna just... Okay, so Flashlight, that's what we were talking about. So Flashlight, it's... this is also like... We're going to go back to the tool belt for a second, because we're going to see that card in a few, but it allows you to switch between cards that you're holding in your hand slots, if they're tools. This is really nice because if you want to take advantage of the part of your deck that cares about doing a 0 test, you can switch to your Flashlight. But because you have 5 book, Flashlight's not as crucial as it is for other investigators. But it's still like a good card. Even just like on a 4-shroud location, you can bring it down to 2 and then most likely pass. But you also can just use it in synergy for when you have those, the Shadowlight card. Magnifying Glass works on the inverse of that. This is the thing you can just hold like all the time in your hand and just switch the Flashlight when needed, because your Magnifying Glass is just going to let you investigate at 6, which is a really good number. One thing we commonly say is that when you're a seeker, you want to get to 5 book, like ASAP, like turn 1.
Yep.
He does it. So then Magnifying Glass is just gravy on top of that. And then Dr. Milan is gravy on top of your gravy.
Yeah, you can see it on his scrubs.
Travis is like, stop bad mouthing Dr. Milan Christopher.
No, that's fair. He's pretty cool. I call him Fatty, man.
So you get +1 book. So now with your Magnifying Glass and him, you have 7. And then after you successfully investigate, gain 1 resource. Wow. And then you're also like in the Survivor class where you can also like just like use those resources for a lot of things, right? Like just like get some of the assets that you want to pump into.
You'll notice there's no other way to get resources in this deck.
Yeah, look at that. We have Look What I Found. After you fail skill test by 2 or less while investigating, discover 2 clues on your location. This card is good even with a 5 book, because you might fail a 4-shroud location and then you never have to investigate it again, probably.
Yeah.
This can help you get that. All right. Bryn, why don't you take the guts on this one?
All right, so we got Lucky. It's better than failing your skill tests by 2 or less. Not doing that. For the low price of 1 resource, that's what this card does 1 time, which is real solid, actually. We got Deduction. You know how Vicious Blow is really good in all of your fighting decks?
Mm-hmm.
This is Vicious Blow for clues.
Mm-hmm.
Which admittedly is the explanation that I give as to why Vicious Blow is good,
Mm-hmm.
but like inverse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're never actually going to talk about the specifics about why they're good. Or at least I'm not going to.
I think that sums it up perfectly.
I mean, like 2 clues is more than 1.
No, I said we're not going to. We got Guts. When the game is trying to do damage to you, it is going to do so by frequently asking you to test your brain and then suffer ill effects if you fail. Guts gives you 2 brain, which puts Darrell up to a fairly respectable 4 and then replaces itself if you succeed. That's just kind of good. You never want to be frozen in fear if you can avoid it.
Mm-hmm.
You never want to have to discard a card like maybe Darrell's Kodak because you haven't managed to put another asset into play.
Mm-hmm. That would be
And,
bad.
Every
Crypt
deck's
Chill
full
showed
of
up.
trash assets.
I mean, it is full of trash. It would be a real weird grip if you
Yeah.
somehow failed to find one to throw away instead of the Kodak. But that's beside the point. The point is that it's better to try to succeed these tests if it is remotely possible.
Yeah, and then also because Darrell's stat line is like designed for you to spend evidence to defend yourself in the Mythos
Yeah.
phase, and Guts is basically stops that.
Yeah, then it, I mean, like, the Guts plus evidence in the
Yeah.
Mythos phase. It's like you're playing 6. And if 6 is not good enough to protect you, then it didn't matter what you were doing.
Yeah.
Because you weren't going to succeed.
Man, that's any test, huh?
Any test, anybody's test.
Yeah. It's, like, kind of good, yeah.
Why does he even have a brain score?
Just in case.
Well, because if it was a dash line, we'd be like, "What does this do?"
Just give me a Darrell with like 0 brain, 0 punch, 0 foot, and 7 book instead.
Let's go.
It's like the same
Yeah.
thing.
I think he could. No, give him 9 book and just keep the 3 foot. He's a survivor. They
Oh, yeah,
usually,
okay,
they
that's
usually
right.
have 3 foot.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Well, he's got like
Yeah.
5 foot.
They also usually have, like, 3 or 4 brain, though.
it's true. Yeah, he's actually one of the lower brain survivors.
Yeah, because he's got big action score. So,
Yes.
yeah.
He's got that trash survivor stat line instead of the the peak seeker one where you just have a massive brain score, massive book score.
Yeah,
The 2 are garbage.
Yeah, he had like 3 or like he had like even just like 3 brain 5 and then 1 fist. You're like, what the fuck?
This man, he's
Yeah, I know. I know that, Travis.
Yeah, and then lastly, we got the perception. You're probably thinking, I don't need this. I got 5 book, and like for the most part, you'd probably be right. But occasionally, you need to push yourself over a rather high shroud number, and this will do it basically for free.
You can also use this in your ability to give someone else effectively 4 book for an
Yeah.
investigate. Man, his ability is a push investigator, man.
Yes, yeah, he's very, and he has a incredible card pool as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild.
As I said, like this guy is gonna be a very good investigator.
You just buy yourself like that medical kit, and you're like, I'm putting evidence on this whenever an enemy dies at my location.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna attach it to my toolbelt because I don't care about any of the things this does.
I mean, like
It just has a bunch of evidence on it.
like that's the thing too. Like it's not in this deck, but like for people who were say you're getting away from the deck and the new player guide. This is also like our first time like talking about the investigators with like the full card pool. Darrell can also like when you get more, he can flex. Like he could probably even like flex just with even the Scarlet Keys box.
Yeah.
I think focusing on the book is the better choice. But like he's a powerful
I do
investigator.
love the idea of holding the sledgehammer on the tool belt, just like until you need it. But then when you need it, you're just like, oh, no.
Oh my God, what did I do?
We're very professional.
Yeah, don't worry,
Very
something happened. Travis,
Yeah.
yellow cards from Scarlet Keys.
Alright, we got Imperial Hypothesis here. This lets you draw or gets evidence, which is the thing that you care about.
Yeah.
Whenever you fail a test by 2 or succeed a test by 3 or more.
Like investigating.
Yeah, like investigating with your absurdly high number.
Yeah.
You can spend your evidence to draw cards, or you could just spend it to succeed tests by more, you get more evidence.
Yes.
And then like there's a list of other things you can do.
Yeah.
Run out of cards in your hand, probably not going to happen. Dealt damage or horror, probably not going to happen because you could just give yourself +2 to any skill test. Enter a location with 3 or more shroud, that one might happen.
Also, the discard of treachery or enemy
I
from
was
play.
coming back to that. Discard enemy or treachery from play. You can play that other red card that does that when you evade an enemy from the Scarlet Keys.
The exposed weakness or whatever it is?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, the one where Stella's guy, he's like, go! Like, you just feel him like a meat in the
Yeah,
stomach.
you could play that if you want,
Yeah.
but if you just get enough clues fast enough, the game won't spawn any enemies.
It's true.
It also plays quite well with some of the red cards you could play with a larger collection, but peer review, you could play that to get other people to put evidence on this and then fight with them because they want to draw cards and you want unexpected courage.
Yeah, I actually probably wouldn't take peer review with Darrell Simmons because I think you should be the only one who gets to decide what to do with your photos.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's like real easy. You just show up and you're like, we got peer review. And you're like, I swear to God, if any one of you spends any evidence off of my empirical hypothesis, I will never reduce the difficulty of a test you are attempting, ever.
It is good threatening them. It is good, yeah. It is good.
And they won't do it.
Yeah.
It's simple.
Yeah. We have research grant, which is probably unnecessary because you have Dr. Milan.
Yeah.
Irrefutable proof is actually a solid option.
Yeah.
Because you can use it to grab a clue and put evidence on your codec.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how that works. And then alternative hypothesis, that's a solid option too. It's fine.
Yeah.
You do only get 4 ticks, so...
Yeah, the thing about alternative is because then you have the fail by 2 and succeed by 3, because you have to choose a different thing.
Yeah.
Any
investigator. No, it's only if you pick the other thing, right?
Yes,
Which you cannot do.
Yeah. I would probably... I think, the irrefutable proof is a nice option. Just discover a clue for 3 evidence. And then probably field research is another good one.
To be honest, I probably just wouldn't upgrade this card.
I mean, I think, but if you're I think also honestly, probably what's good is if you're gonna upgrade this card, if you have extra XP to spend because you're a survivor, just grab more criteria, like the field research. Mm-hmm. That one I think is good. Even the independent variable, because that's also kind of what you want to be doing with your investigator as well.
Yep, the irrefutable proof can be good as well if you lean into the putting clues down.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
So, speaking of which, we have research notes here. This takes up one of your hand slots. It is not a tool. As a reaction after a player card places 1 more clues in your location, you get evidence on this. And you can test book 0, however you ever pass that. For each point you succeed by, you can spend evidence to discover a clue at your location. Wow, that's absurd.
Yeah. Do you know what's great? That with the empirical hypothesis, succeed by 3 or more.
Yeah, you also just kind of roll up to high shroud locations and you're like, you give me all your clues.
Yeah.
This is like what Darrell did in Eldritch Horror.
Mm-hmm.
When you spend a clue, gain a clue. The first time you spend a clue.
Yeah.
In a turn, gain a clue.
Yeah, no, this card's
very similar to
insane.
this.
Yeah.
We have Captivating Discovery. This lets you put your clues down to draw cards.
Yes.
It's good.
So with this one with Captivating Discovery, you can place 3 clues down, which gives you 3 evidence on research notes.
Yeah. No, you only get 1.
Why'd you place 1 or more, place that many resources.
Oh, that many. Okay. Yeah.
Wow. I just love the idea of playing this card and then drawing your 6 cards, even though you looked at them and you know one of them is the amnesia and you've got to discard that.
That's how you have to play.
You're just like, oh my God, but then he fell and hit his head and forgot about him.
That's like the meta we used to play with Eldritch Horror, where if you get amnesia, you can't look at the back cards of any of your cards that you've already seen anymore. Yeah. Captivating Discovery is a great card. It's even better, and Darrell is kind of nuts. This guy's nuts.
Yeah.
We have Grim Memoir, which is also just kind of nuts. So it's not busted by any means, but it's just so freaking efficient. So it's a 3 cost, 4 secrets, investigate, spend a secret, +2 book. If you succeed by 2 or more, draw a card. You may draw a card, so you could just get it for the +2 book if you're feeling...
Why doesn't it exhaust?
No, it doesn't exhaust.
I hate this.
Yeah. It's a good card. Mm-hmm. Drawing cards is good. Getting clues is good. Doing them at the same time is even better. End of the row. This is that really efficient survivor card that Travis talked about. You only play during if the final agenda is in play. 0 cost. Draw a card. Gain a resource. Gain 1 additional action. Remove it from the game.
Yeah, you just sit with these in your hand until the last agenda, and then you just probably win.
Unless you fall off that ladder and hit your head and forget all your stuff.
Yeah, that would be tough.
That would be tough.
Just don't do that.
Yeah, just don't fall. Just don't go on ladders if you think you're gonna fall off. That's the rule.
Yeah, it's probably dangerous for Darrell. The camera's probably really.
Yeah, he's carrying the camera.
But he needs to get the shot.
Yeah. He's gotta get that good high angle bird's eye view. We have Shed a Light. Play after revealing a Chaos token during an investigation you're performing, and only if the difficulties test is currently 0. If only there was a way to reduce a shroud by 2 or even 4 in this Darrell deck. This test automatically succeeds. You discover 1 additional clue at this location and 1 additional clue at any location. So this is wild. So it's just in Darrell, like, especially because you just get 3 clues.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good card.
That's a good card.
Tool Belt. This one's fun.
Yeah.
Like we had all these like bonkers busted cards, and then just like Tool Belt. So it takes up no hand slot. Each stats asset takes up no slots. Sorry, and its text box is treated as if it was blank. Takes up the body slot. As Lightning Bolt exhausted, choose and attach a tool asset in your play area. Switch a tool asset in your play area with an attached asset, or detach an attached asset. So this is what I was talking about, like the swapping between what tool you want to be holding in your hand. Or if you're like, I want to play Grim Memoir and I already have my research notes out, I'll just put my flashlight in here for the time being.
Yep.
Very nice in this deck.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a cool card. I like that one.
It is fun. Bryn, core.
You get the boring ones
XP
again.
All right. We got Upgraded Lucky, which I'm not saying that if you upgrade to this, before you upgrade any of your other cards, we'll mail Travis to your house and he'll call you a rinky-dink scrub. But I am saying that the difference between don't fail a test by at least 2 and draw a card and don't fail a test by at least 2 is not really that much.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously it is stronger. However,
Not priority strong.
it's not that much
It's not
stronger.
too experienced stronger.
Yeah, it's not like if this costs 1 XP, then you could buy both of them for 2 XP.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah, okay.
all right, then that's pretty good. But it is not really worth 2 XP. This is like a luxury upgrade more than it is anything else. Unless you have somebody else in your group playing red cards and you need to make 4 luckies out of your single collection.
Yeah.
In which case, absolutely, this card is insane.
I remember when we used to do that.
Yeah, we used to do that all the time.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, then that becomes really good.
Where's my level 1 lucky that costs 0 but gets +2 and you gain a resource? Where's my level 1 lucky? Give me all the luckies. I want more.
But level 5 lucky, if you would fail a test, just put the token back in the bag and succeed, and it's
Or no, just remove that token from the bag
yeah, just
for that scenario.
Maybe if it exiled the lucky.
That'd be sick.
You
yeah, just end up with
exile
an
the lucky
empty
and seal
bag.
the
Like,
token out.
oh no.
It'd have to be a non-auto fail though.
Oh yeah, always.
No, it can do that. It's a red card.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's
Red cards care about non-auto fails.
It's true.
Yeah, but they also care about autofill. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That doesn't exist. It's not a card. We don't.
No, but it's important for the new players to know about our hypothetical lucky upgrades. That we
Yeah.
want.
Oh, yeah, okay. We got Will to Survive, which costs 4 to play, which is a lot, and it costs 3 XP, which is also a lot. However, it is fast. You can play it only during your own turn. Until the end of your turn, you do not reveal Chaos tokens for any skill tests you perform. If you've got evidence on stuff, you can just pick 3 skill tests and succeed at them.
Yep.
Like,
You need to punch that guy 3 times.
Yeah, right? Like, hell, even if you're playing this and you're like, I'm going to kill 3 rats or
Yeah.
whatever, that's not terrible.
And even what this does too, it's like being like, I'm gonna take a turn just accruing evidence without making any tests, and then just go for it next turn. There's a lot of versatility you can do with it.
I think this card's exceptionally strong for Darrell in the scenarios that want you to make a test to put your clues on something.
Yeah.
Like the Lair Dagon, I think it is.
Mm.
It's like extremely
Yeah.
minor
Yes.
spoils here, but like you have to make a brain 3 test to put your clues on something.
Yeah.
And this makes that very easy for Darrell.
Definitely.
Or even, if you've played through the Corset campaign, there are definitely some locations that will punish you by enforcing a skill test of a given type.
Those are fun.
And if you cannot pass it, maybe you don't get to play too much of the game anymore.
It's true.
But with Will to Survive, you can pass any test you want, baby.
Hell yeah.
We got the Disc of Examna. This is a relic. It takes up your accessory slot, which for some reason your camera also doesn't take. It commits for almost a wild, which is like not the worst thing in the world. But as a reaction effect, when a non-elite enemy spawns at your location, you discard the disc and you discard that enemy too. It's just kind of good.
I love this scenario I picture in my head where like you're playing Darrell with someone and then they're like, oh no, I drew this test, and you're like, worry not, you will pass. And then you draw the enemy, it's like, the enemy's gone, you have nothing to do this turn, draw cards, I don't care.
Yeah, do whatever you want. Man.
I just want to really emphasize how unnecessary you are.
Yeah.
There are not an infinite number of ways to deal with enemies playing with red and yellow cards, and this is one of them. Though admittedly, with Darrell, you can probably just deal with enemies by making their evade bad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then running away from them.
Yeah.
We got the upgraded magnifying glass. If you are going to buy this, it is probably not... Well, it may not be worth your time to have a tool belt, too. Because this kind of does a very similar thing, where if, as a lightning bolt, if there are no clues on your location, you can just pick it up. Just put it back in your hand. And it costs 0 to play, and it's fast. So if you want to switch it out for that empty flashlight, it is actually free.
Yeah.
It's a solid upgrade. Like, things costing 1 less is usually pretty okay for 1 XP. If the lucky costs 0 to play, then absolutely that 2 XP would be worth.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like magnifying glass costing 1, and the real effect is that it costs nothing.
Yeah.
Pretty alright.
Hell yeah. Alright, Travis.
Okay, we got our Press Pass. This is a very strong card for the putting clue down archetype. Takes up your accessory slot, and after you spend 1 more clues or place 1 of your clues in your location, you can exhaust and take an extra action this turn. Or on your next turn, in case it's not currently your turn, because, like...
That would feel bad.
It would feel bad if you spent your clues, like, at the end of the round to advance the game and you didn't get an extra action for it.
Yeah. How dare I win, but not win more?
Yeah, like, man.
I mean, like, the real thing that does is if you need to spend them during, or, you know, place them back on your location during the mythos, you don't get penalized for it not being your turn.
I feel like you also get to take a turn, though, because the game doesn't get one.
Yeah, I wish this didn't spend the clues. I wish it just placed them, but it's wild in the place clues deck. It's...
Yeah, they really juiced this archetype.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, it's good. It's been too long since yellow did something well.
Finally, we have a viable
Archetype.
yellow archetype.
Finally.
That's well defined and does a unique thing.
Yeah, because remember when we had all these archetype videos and we're like, we got all this stuff, and they're like, but we can't, like, we have the clues on location one, but it's just bare bones.
Yeah.
But now it's like they put God in it.
I love how they do that, and then like they give red like dilemma as an archetype, where it's like these cards just do things.
Yeah.
And then we have an ally you can stuff them under.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
Not like nothing like, you know, after you fail an action you can play something to like return a card from your discard pile that has a revelation effect to your hand.
Yeah.
That would be neat.
Nope. Just
stuff them under what's her name.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Anyway, we have existential riddle here. You can choose a non-elite enemy or location to parlay if you test book 8. And if this test gets -1 for each other card in your hand, if you succeed, you automatically evade the chosen enemy and attach existential riddle to it. The attached enemy gains aloof. This is going to be pretty easy because, like, if you have no cards in your hand, you still get, like, the absolute worst case scenario is, like, 5 to 8, which is pretty okay, but, you know, you throw in evidence into that and you're, like, 5 to 6, and, like, you're going to have some cards in your hand. You're going to have cards in play that boost your book. It's going to be a pretty easy
If you have 4 cards in hand, you can do this at 5 to 2.
Yeah, you just do it.
That's kind of wild. It's not even big hand. That's just... Man, Darrell is strong.
Yeah.
I'm just a fan of the idea of playing this card against some of like the basic gangster enemies where they're like, "Hi, I'm gangster," and you're like, "But why gangster?"
Yeah, it's like, "But why
and
gangster?"
Like, why gangster?
We have upgraded William T. Nelson here. He's working on something bigger. As a reaction, when an enemy discards an encounter card from the encounter deck, draws an encounter card from the encounter deck, you use awesome, and place 1 of your clues in your location. More support for that type. That investigator draws another card from the top of the deck, and then you pick one to resolve.
Yeah, this is really nice because Darrell cares about treacheries being attached to his location, so you can like fish those out.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, that is a nice use there. We have at Crossroads. There's like a whole bunch of dilemmas. You can just like, again, like I said, they just kind of do things. And like I picked a couple of them that I thought were like exceptionally generic. This is one of them. How dilemmas work is when you draw them, you have to immediately play them, and then you pick one of the things to do.
Yep.
So you choose an investigator for this one, and then they must either take actions of their turn to discard a card random from their hand, or they lose an action to draw 3 cards.
Yeah, it's a great card.
Yeah, this is pretty solid.
We got a few more Scarlet Keys cards here. We got Gumption. This is Darrell on a card essentially. So you may commit to any type of skill test while it's being -2 difficulty. So if you give it to someone else, they can turn a 4 into a 0 with his ability on top of that. It's a good card. It's a very nice skill. Old Keyring is the upgraded version's wild. So it's a tool, so it does work with the tool belt synergy that we got going on here. But it has 3 keys, and if there are no keys on it, discard it. Investigate, you get -2 Shroud. If you succeed, remove 1 key from Old Keyring, and if the test difficulty is 0, you discover 1 additional clue. So with this now, with Darrell, you can spend an evidence on a 4 Shroud location to grab 2 clues. Get a deduction in there, it's 3 clues.
It just throws itself away, huh?
Oh yeah, scavenge that. Well, that's what the level 0 one did. So this one's going to do it too.
Yeah, still.
Yeah.
This is the actual press pass.
Yeah, like this card is kind of just, it's a very powerful upgrade.
How long do you think until scavenging gets like tabooed?
Honestly, if David
Like
Renfield
tomorrow.
got tabooed, I feel like scavenging could have got tabooed here.
Yeah, that's actually wild that they preemptively banned or tabooed like Jeremiah Kirby, and they're just like scavenging will be fine.
Yeah,
No one's ever done anything broken with this.
because I want to play Darrell first, but I think
there's no red investigators who can investigate good.
Yeah. Well, you could play him solo, and it'd be like the same thing as playing with Brennan.
yeah, I don't. That's why I don't want to play scavenging Darrell for when we play together because it's just gonna be like too good.
I'll play Mina, and I'll just juice the game, and we'll compete.
It's a race. We have Fickle Fortune. This is the dilemma that Travis said he put here because he can play it. It's 3 experience.
Yeah, he's the guy who can play it.
So you get a place 1 Doom on the current agenda. Each investigator heals 3 damage and 3 horror, or remove 1 damage from the current agenda. Each investigator takes 1 direct damage and 1 direct horror. Remove this from the game. So if you're not far enough ahead by all the tempo you're gaining from all your amazing clues you're getting through all your abilities, you can also just take a turn off of the game. Or if because you are that far ahead on tempo, you can easily place the Doom on the agenda for this.
You can also potentially use the second ability to kill one of your teammates because you're tired of sinking resources into them.
Or this is what you threaten them with on with the empirical hypothesis.
Yeah.
If you take a single evidence off this, I will start drawing cards until I find this, and I will try to kill you.
Yeah. No, I think Darrell. Yep. We have Flashlight here. This is the upgraded Flashlight. It's a reaction as well, as I learned in the previous video that we recorded. You can on an evade or an investigate, you get -2 difficulty after you spend the supply. This is really nice for Darrell because you can have 7 foot if you really want to.
Card's actually insane with sharp vision.
Oh my god.
Just give you an extra clue for free every time.
Wow. That's nuts. This is Darrell. Darrell's a very, very, very strong investigator, and as I said at the start of the video, you can kind of just put any cards together, as long as you just have ways of gaining evidence beyond just your camera. But even with just your camera, you're going to probably get enough evidence to get the uses out of your ability that it's going to be a-okay. Huge thank you to all of our patrons and for everyone who watched this video. What do you think of Darrell Simmons? Please let us know in the comments. And also, if you're a new player and you have any questions, comment the video. Even if it's like a year after it came out, you can comment. I see the comments. I'll reply. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be back for another investigator in the new player guide very soon. In the meantime, have a good one. And as always, GG's.